to a depression, and I isolated myself for the next couple of decades. Is exactly what happened.
Brian McLean speaking today about the abuse he claims he suffered at the hands of a Catholic priest in 1999. His case will be heard by the Michigan Supreme Court involving the Catholic Diocese of Lansing. Good evening, everyone. I'm David Andrews.
And I'm Ann Emmerich. The court's decision could set a legal precedent for future sexual assault cases in Michigan. News 10's Justin Kent is here with what we know about this investigation. Justin?
Yeah, Brian McLean filed a lawsuit in May of 2021 for the sexual abuse he claims he suffered during his time at W.J. Maxey Boys Training School in Whitmore Lake in 1999. The Michigan Court of Appeals said that McCain's case against Father Richard Lobert and the Diocese of Lansing exceeded the current statute of limitations. Now, the Michigan Supreme Court will decide if McCain will be allowed to proceed with his lawsuit. In 1999, Brian McLean, who attended W.J. Maxey Boys Training School in Whitmore Lake, went to see Father Richard Lobert for confession. It was that confession, McLean said, that was used against him.
I wanted to repent for it, and he ultimately used that against me, and on numerous occasions used it against me to have him do things to him sexually.
News 10 did a story with Father Lobert back in 2020 when he was working at Father Gabriel Richard High School in Ann Arbor. He and 3 other priests created a podcast to reach students during the pandemic.
Sometimes a little worried about some of them. So each one of us has been trying to find ways to reach out uniquely to our school communities.
McLean's attorney, Ben Johnson, said the statute of limitations was rewritten in 2018 and now allows victims to pursue action up to 3 years after they discover the abuse.
Brian was working extensively with a therapist. That is when, if you will, the abuse and the causation, that's what the statute talks about. It's not just the assault, but it's also that it's the cause of his injuries, when that, for the first time in Brian's life, was put all together.
In a written statement from the Diocese of Lansing, they said, because the ruling of Michigan's Court of Appeals correctly applied Michigan's law, we are asking the Michigan Supreme Court to uphold that ruling. As the matter is in litigation, it would be inappropriate to comment further at this time. For now, the diocese and Brian McLean will await a date that could very well reinterpret the statute of limitations for sexual assault cases here in Michigan. Now, during the press conference, McLean's attorney, Ben Johnson, claimed that over 80% of people who suffer sexual abuse as a child never come forward. Johnson asked that any of the other victims of Father Lobert should come forward to speak about that abuse. Live in studio, Justin Kent, News 10.
Michigan Attorney General Dana Nessel has an open investigation into sexual abuse cases involving members of the clergy. If you have any information to help investigators, you are urged to call 844-324-3374. You can also submit a tip online. We have the information at WILX.com.